All right, welcome back to Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. Love Twitter. This is my favorite time of the year. We've gotten past the rough time, and now we have stuff to talk about, whether it's camp or your favorite player or what's the team going to do, what's the division going to do. We're going to get to talk about all that tonight. And I'm joined by my co-host, KB, Ken Barrett, not to be mistaken for Shaq Barrett. How you doing, man?
Oh, fantastic. We actually have content to talk about, Gene.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
They don't have to hear about our PS4, PS5, stocks,
Exactly.
Bitcoin. They don't have to listen to any of that anymore.
Exactly. And you know what? We are joined by a special guest tonight, Bob Rose, writer for Sports Illustrated. He does cover the New Orleans Saints, and he can give us some insight on what we can expect from a newly revamped New Orleans Saints team. Some familiar faces have gone, and we've got some new faces in there. So he'll definitely be able to help us as Bucs fans to get an idea of what we're going to face as the season progresses. How you doing, Bob?
Gentlemen, I'm really good. It's been an absolutely insanely crazy summer, with tons and tons of stuff going on. But I tell you what, it is all good. But the New Orleans Saints aren't doing me any favors. They haven't exactly had a quiet off season, and you guys can relate with the team that you cover. You've had a relatively quiet off season, but you know what it's like to have an insane off season. So yeah. I'm actually anxious for them to get back, for everybody to get back onto the field, because I'm hoping that will calm the drama down a little bit. But I'm truly honored that the two of you would ask me to come on. Hey, listen, we're family. We might not like each other's teams, but you guys are a couple of great guys, and I'm big fans of what you do with the show.
And with every fan base, there's always those outliers on both sides. And we just want you to know that we definitely aren't in that one. We want to give our viewers the best experience possible and let them know everything that they need to know, because we can hype up the Bucs all day, but we know there's 31 other teams that control their own destinies as well.
Yeah. And, being the NFC South is a really unique division in the NFL. When you look at the last decade, every single team in the NFC South has been to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Whether they won or lost, every single team has been. And that's something that we're very unique in, that we've been able to do that. And so, everybody kind of switches positions, and you see some changes here. And, just fortunately for, us as Bucs fans, we are really getting to enjoy this. And so for you, what has been the biggest change outside of Drew Brees? Let's take Drew Brees out of the equation. What has been the biggest change for you that you're really anxious to see what happens as far as your team goes?
I'm going to go, and I've been critical of what little they've done at the cornerback spot all off season, but I'm going to go with a position that intrigues me a great deal coming into camp, and that is linebacker. Listen, the Saints lost a bunch of good starting caliber personnel on both sides of the ball this offseason. Everybody wants to talk about Drew Brees, and I get why. There's certainly big concerns and issues to answer there. Now that Michael Thomas is going to miss at least the first half of the season, there's big issues there also. But defensively, I mean, this team lost David Onyemata, Sheldon Rankins, and Malcolm Brown at defensive tackle. Onyemata is a recent thing. 2 weeks ago, he was suspended. So that creates a huge hole. Obviously, Janoris Jenkins, the release of Janoris Jenkins at cornerback, who I think was their biggest single offseason loss, creates a black hole at cornerback. Not that there are any good receivers in the NFC South or anything to worry about.
You need multiple hands to count those.
Right. But the linebacker position, I mean, we know this team has Demario Davis, who is easily in the top five of, should be in the top five of everybody's best linebacker poll currently going on. But they parted ways with Quan Alexander. Now, there's a very strong possibility that they bring Quan back. He just recently visited with the team, and both sides walked away from each other without a deal signed, but general good feelings from both sides. Mm-hmm. But they used the second-round pick on Pete Werner, and I think Pete is the real deal coming out of Ohio State, a program which the Saints have had great luck with before. I think Pete Werner can come in and be a day one starter. But with as much as the Saints ask of their linebackers, There's going to be some certainly rocky moments, even with a stabilizing presence such as Demario Davis. Even though I think Werner is going to be one heck of a player, I'm intrigued to see how quickly he gets up to speed and how firmly he grasps the system and what they're asking him to do, and not not in a robotic kind of way, because you have to rely on your instincts too. So that's the one player that intrigues me the most coming into camp.
And as Bucs fans, we understand that. I mean, with Levante David for us has been the garbage man. We've had Quan Alexander, so we know that as well. For every splash play, there's 2 or 3 plays where he's roaming. No one has any idea what he's doing. It's not scheme related. He's just trying to make a play, but not playing within the system. So you got basically 2 rookies. Zach Bond didn't really have much playing time last year either. So like you said, the Saints they used to have a fantastic defensive line that has lost some key depth, and that's going to put more weight on the linebackers. And the secondary, as you mentioned, lost a key piece. So holes are going to be opening up if those linebackers can't hold their own in both the pass and the run game.
So I guess my question to you, with the losses of these players, are there players out there that you feel like, barring any injury, could come in and step in and help that defensive line, especially the pass rush?
Well, on the defensive line, I know that they are really excited about Shy Tuttle, as am I. He showed some good stuff, good things over his first 2 years. But as you mentioned, Ken, that defensive line rotation was just so deep. It was hard for anybody to really break in. I mean, how long are you going to sit David Onyemata? How many reps are you going to sit David Onyemata, Sheldon Rankins, or Malcolm Brown for? But Shy Tuttle distinguished himself quite well. And I think that the team, that Sean Payton really likes what he has at that position, because even with Onyemata's suspension, which that the team knew before the announcement was made public, and they still did very little at that position in either free agency or the draft. So they're going to rely on a bunch of undrafted guys, Shy himself being one of them. Malcolm Roach did some nice things last year. He's going to be asked to step in. Jalen Dalton, kind of a cast off from the Bears, but another undrafted guy. He showed some great potential when he was at the University of North Carolina, but Dalton himself admits that he didn't always play up to his potential. So hopefully maybe that light has turned on for him. And a familiar face, or at least a familiar name to most Saints fans, they signed Lorenzo Neal Jr., who of course his father started his career with the New Orleans Saints, a Hall of Fame caliber fullback, if there ever has been one in the modern NFL. And I'll tell you what, even before Onyemata's suspension, I gave Lorenzo Neal Jr. a very good chance to make this roster based off what I saw of him coming out of Purdue. He wrecked his ACL as a junior in 2019, and the Boilermakers only had 5 games this year, and he played in 4 of them. So he didn't really get a chance to completely show that knee was fully healthy. But man, that man is a load inside. He has nice burst off of the snap. He's not going to run that down too many plays from behind, but he's going to take up that double team blocking and be a space eater in the middle, and has a burst to beat an offensive lineman to the point, as well as hold up at the point of attack. So I think there are a couple of veteran defensive linemen out there that it wouldn't surprise me to see the Saints bring in for a tryout or two. But I know that Sean Payton really likes what he has in the room, those young players that he has there.
Yeah. Question from me on that defensive line. Sorry, real quick, Gene.
Oh, no.
So we mentioned that inside defensive line. I think even without Onyemata, I think they're going to hold up well against the run. But that defensive line, in terms of rushing the passer right now, can we trust Marcus Davenport? What can we expect from Peyton Turner? And then is Zach Bond going to be a pass rusher or an off-ball linebacker for the Saints?
Yeah, and those are great questions. And I'll start with Bond. I really liked the pick when they drafted him in the 3rd round last year, but I knew that he was going to be in store for a position change. A lot of people forget, like you just alluded to, Ken, that Bond played predominantly stand-up defensive end at Wisconsin. And while he played that role well, he's a little light in the pants to be an every down defensive lineman. So he was basically asked to switch positions and work out at both strong side and weak side linebacker as a rookie. And oh, by the way, he had to do it in an abbreviated training camp with no preseason game. So you could basically chalk that up to a red shirt for him. But it's really vital that he has picked up the system in this offseason, because I think you will see him in some designated pass rush roles, but the Saints need him to be, to pick up at least some coverage nuances, so they could put him onto the field, and more reps that he saw last year, because they don't need him as an edge rusher. Yeah, if Marcus Davenport stays healthy, and my gosh, I realize that's a huge if.
Yeah.
The Saints showed their faith in him this offseason by picking up his fifth-year option. But then after doing so, they turned around and drafted Peyton Turner. And I won't lie, the night they made that selection, my notes went flying across my living room. But after I watched some film on Turner, and the more I saw on this kid, the more I like him. I think he is going to be a really good player. And, oh, by the way, another name that a lot of people aren't mentioning, I think Carl Granderson along the edge is going to have a huge year as well. And I expect a bounce-back performance, maybe not to an all-pro level, but certainly a better performance from Cam Jordan. These guys have the horses to rush the passer on the outside. And you can even move a guy like Jordan or Davenport inside on some pass rush packages, which I expect that they will do, especially until Onyemata comes back. But yeah, even on base rush downs, you have to have somebody that is able to step up in the interior, because that makes those edge guys' jobs just that much easier when you have to devote extra blockers to an inside pursuit.
And once again, folks, if you just joined us, we are here with Bob Rose, writer for Sports Illustrated that covers the New Orleans Saints. Bob, I did want to talk to you about Marcus Davenport. I remember when he was drafted, and a lot of people talked about he wasn't polished and he was a work in progress. Do you think that he's progressed enough to where he was worth that draft pick where they picked him up at?
Well, and the trade for him, because they get the extra first-round pick to move up for him.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, in your opinion, if they redid the draft, is Marcus Davenport still your guy at that position? No,
absolutely not. And I was a big Marcus Davenport defender right up until about a quarter of the way into the season last year. To me, he showed a bunch of regression last year. Up until then, the way I would word Davenport was, look, he still shows a lot of potential when he's on the field. Teams devote double team blocking to him. He is a disruptor. It hasn't translated into sacks yet, but he gets pressure on the passer. He had improved as a run defender over his first 2 years, excuse me. But all that went out the window last year.
Was there an injury, or is there an injury we don't know about?
He has had problems.
An elbow, right?
Foot and ankle injuries. Since he's been into the league. I think he had a little bit of a shoulder injury or some kind of mid-core injury last year too. But whatever it was, he didn't look right physically all year long, and he didn't seem to be progressing mentally like he was his first 2 years. So again, pats on the back to the Saints if they see something that we don't, because they obviously have some high hopes by picking up that fifth-year option, because by doing so, they've locked themselves into Davenport for the next 2 years. Going into his fifth year, which would be next year, if he has a poor season, it's not like they can cut ties with him, because that's going to be an almost $10 million cap hit. And if he plays well, conceivably, if they trade him, another team could pick up at least part of that salary. But do you think that that's going to happen if he has a poor season? No. Absolutely not. And if he has a good season, they're not going to want to trade him anyway. So, again, they obviously see something that we don't. But if they had to do the 2018 draft all over again, I don't think that we would see the Saints make that kind of move up for Marcus Davenport and pay the dividends and prices that they had to pay.
I totally understand.
One question from me on the edge before we move on real quick. Sorry, Gene. With Cameron Jordan, he didn't have his greatest year last year against Tristan Wirfs. As a Bucs fan, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the terrorizing of DeMar Dotson that went on for what seemed like a decade. Is Tristan Wirfs, in your opinion, the real deal? And does he have Cameron Jordan's number, at least so far in his career?
First, yeah, I think Wirfs is the real deal. I think he's a Pro Bowl, a perennial Pro Bowler, probably a perennial All Proler, All Pro guy. Don't get me wrong. I'll take the guys that I have, Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk over Wirfs, but
At
I
least
can't
the
think
combination of. At least the combination of them both.
fair. But I mean, Wirfs, and let's face facts. They made that draft pick of Tristan Wirfs to keep Tom Brady alive last year. And that's something that they did, that your franchise did not do for Jameis Winston. They did not seem concerned about providing him a running game, keeping him upright, any of that stuff. But we know that Wirfs selection was made specifically to keep Tom Brady alive, and hey, it worked. I think Wirfs is going to be a thorn in the side for any New Orleans Saints or any NFL edge rusher for at least the next 10 years. Does he have Cam Jordan's number? We'll see, because a lot of questions like that are going around about Cam. Is he going to have a bounce back year? Listen, it's one thing to be down statistically, but the Cam Jordan that I saw was regularly handled by single team blocking. And I'm not talking about a single team blocker like a Tristan Wirfs. I'm talking about a third string guy when they played the Las Vegas Raiders, or a second string guy when they played the Minnesota Vikings. That was unheard of, throughout all of Cam Jordan's magnificent career. It came out afterward that he was struggling with a couple different injuries, as a lot of the players were during the course of the year. So we'll see if he bounces back healthy, because he's gonna have to provide a significant pass rush for this team early on to cover up for those big question marks in the secondary.
Oh, all right. A quick question, and last question on defense. And after you, KB, if you have anything, please chime in. What in your position? What is the strength of this defense? I mean, as you look at it, is it your linebacker core? Is it your secondary? Is it your pass rush? As you look at this team right now that you have assembled, what is the strength of this defense? I mean, if Bucs fans are preparing for this game, I know the rosters are fluid, but as we get ready, for the regular season, when you look at this team, what is the strength on that defense that you would be able to talk to us about?
I got to go. I really like their safeties. As long as they keep Malcolm Jenkins out of man coverage, he's a veteran presence. He plays like an extra linebacker when deployed near the line of scrimmage. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is an all-pro bid waiting to happen. I think the guy is a real difference maker all over the field. And Marcus Williams has as much range as any safety in the National Football League. He's not the best, but he's in the top 3 or 5 for sure. And the edge spot that we've been talking about. We're running down names like Cam Jordan, Marcus. Big ifs. Can Cam Jordan bounce back? Can the light go on for Marcus Davenport? But if even one of those two things happen, you have a really good potential star in Peyton Turner, a breakout candidate in Carl Granderson, and they remember too they brought over Tanoa Kpassagnon from the Chiefs, who's a really big and athletic rusher too. So they have some depth along that edge. Outside of the edge and safety, there's big question marks. I mean, Demario Davis and Marshawn Lattimore, provided he comes back strong after his suspension. I know it hasn't been announced yet, but he's going to be suspended.
How many games do we know?
That was going to be my question. Any insight in terms of the games or what is it going to be conduct detrimental? Is that what the NFL would do?
Yeah, I think conduct detrimental. No, let's get this straight. I don't have any inside information or anything like that. This is just a hunch, and based off of what we know from the commissioner's office, and both of our franchises have had, let's just say, difficult moments with the dictator Roger Goodell. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be suspended. I thought for at least 2 games, but then I looked at the schedule and who's game 3, the New England Patriots.
Well, so in game 1, Aaron Rodgers is back now too. I thought maybe that could have been a nice gimme if he at least extended his holdout till the regular season.
And I knew that. I knew from the start that Rodgers was going to be a Green Bay Packer from game 1. But I think Lattimore is going to be suspended for at least 2 games, possibly as many as 4. Conduct detrimental kind of thing, because there's very little else they can do with him right now. If they're going to suspend him other than term it as that, because he got arrested, The video is out there and it's very clear, but the court proceedings and legal proceedings really haven't taken effect yet. More down the road from that, unfortunately. I don't think young Lattimore will see any jail time, but probably probation. But the league anticipates that, and I think he played right into their hands. For a commissioner that does not like this particular franchise, you have to keep your nose clean. Marshawn didn't, and he's going to pay the consequence. That opens up even bigger holes at the cornerback position that hopefully that safety crew is going to be able to step up and cover for.
Yeah, absolutely. KB, anything else?
Let's go to offense. Who's going to be the quarterback? Bucs fans need to know who that quarterback is going to be. Can I at least offer my opinion here?
It's got to be Jameis Winston.
I think it's got to be Taysom. So help us bridge this gap.
Because I'm right.
I'm right.
Hey, Gene, you're right. It's Jameis Winston.
Ooh, spicy.
And again, I don't have any insider info, but Jameis is a 5,000-yard passer. Jameis had the year to learn under Sean Payton and Drew Brees, which, by the way, puts him at a distinct crossroads, because if you can't learn and get better under those guys, you need to get on with your life's work.
The Harvard School of Quarterbacks, from what we hear.
Yep. And he's 27 years old. He's not suffered any significant injuries. So he's still in the physical prime of his career. That locker room likes him a lot, both sides of the ball. He has worked very hard with his receivers this offseason, specifically Traquan Smith, Deontay Harris, and Juwan Johnson. I think you're going to see a very focused Jameis Winston, as you should, because he's got a lot of questions. Both of these quarterbacks have a lot of questions to answer. I don't think Jameis Winston would have come back. And remember, he did have the option to not come back. I don't think Jameis would have come back if he wasn't guaranteed at least a strong shot at the starting role. Now, Taysom Hill has been extremely loyal to the organization. He's a good trooper. If I was the head coach, I would love 52 Taysom Hills on my team, but I don't need a 53rd because I want a real quarterback there. Taysom has earned his shot. This will be a legitimate competition early on, but I think Jameis separates himself from the two relatively quickly, and he needs to, because these two guys have such vastly different styles. The offense needs to get into a rhythm with whoever is going to be their starter as quick as possible. So Jameis, or for that matter, Taysom, if one of these two guys don't separate themselves from the other very, very quickly in training camp in the preseason, this offense is going to suffer big time. But I think Jameis Winston is going to open your season as your starter.
And this is my logic behind mentioning Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill is an offensive weapon. And, I've said this repeatedly. We've had this conversation, Bob. Here's a guy that most defensive coordinators don't game plan for him because of where he lines up, whether it's wide receiver, running back, tight end, however they line him up, they just line him up and he plays. Now, when you take that away and you put him under center, you're basically you're taking all that away and you're giving the defensive coordinator the opportunity to game plan for a Taysom Hill. And I think you're taking away a lot of the offense that they've been able to utilize and actually capitalize on wins and stuff just by having him on the field playing in different positions. Now, when you have Jameis Winston in, I think you can begin to rotate and that kind of thing to really utilize Taysom Hill. But on the flip side of that,
can I give the flip side on that, Gene? Because that's my argument.
Yeah, that's your argument.
What we've learned about Sean Payton and Drew Brees over the past 15 years, however long it's been, it seems at least 15 or 20. They don't lose games. They win games by not losing them by their own mistakes. And Hill, as we learned even last year, and Teddy Bridgewater the year before, the Saints don't need a 5,000-yard passer, in my opinion. Yes, the defense has taken a step back, but I still think that they're going to be able to, as long as they're healthy. That with NFL, it's all about who stays healthy the longest. If they're healthy, I think they could still be a top 10, 12 defense in this league and still hold their own against these high-powered offenses, because Jameis, while he started off his career in Tampa, and a lot of this I think should go on Dirk Cutter. We saw what he did with Atlanta. previous couple seasons. It's not the greatest. His scheme, when he's not under the control of someone, is an issue. And I think his game management is an issue. Now, Jameis, I think if he is controlled by Peyton and basically playing the Drew Brees check down game, take your shot, check down game, take your shot, I think that's a great formula for Jameis to succeed in this league. My biggest thing is, even when I saw him coming against the 49ers last year, I didn't think he could still read a defense that well. And granted, he got limited reps probably during the week. It's still a new offense, short off season. I get all that. I think at the end of the day, though, Sean Payton needs a guy who can read a defense, and you don't have to read a defense nearly as much because you're going to run a lot of read option. You're going to control the ball, control the game. And I think that plays to the Saints' favor during a season than it does throwing Jameis out there, who has one winning season in his career.
And you make such great points, but I think those same points could be made for starting Jameis Winston at quarterback. Taysom has the same. Taysom and Jameis both come in with serious game management questions, serious decision making questions. Sean went with Taysom Hill last year because he did know the system. And it's very easy to plug a guy like Taysom Hill in, because you can say, like you alluded to, you can say, okay, Taysom, this is your job. You take one read, it's not there, you take off. Two at the most, because you are a running quarterback, so you still can provide that threat, and defenses know it. If you have Jameis Winston at quarterback, history has shown us that your offensive skill positions, all of them, are now a bigger factor than what they were with Taysom Hill. That's precisely the kind of question that Taysom Hill is going to have to answer. During the 4 games that Taysom started at quarterback last year, Alvin Kamara was targeted 6 times. You can't have
embarrassing.
That. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely embarrassing. And we know why. The reasons why we just said. Taysom, this is the football. Michael Thomas is your first read. You might have a second read. If they're not there, forget waiting until Kamara it breaks open. You take off and run. Right. Jameis Winston is going to use Adam Troutman as tight end. He's going to spread the ball around. He has shown better accuracy on the deep ball than what Taysom Hill can. Those are things that Taysom himself might be able to disprove in camp and in the first 2 preseason games. But I think Jameis Winston makes this offense more dangerous, because also Taysom Hill can be used throughout the offensive formation as an extra weapon also. We could talk about both quarterbacks for hours and hours, what positive things they bring to the table and what negative things they bring to the table. Jameis Winston gave you guys 5 years of cringeworthy, oh my God, what a play, and oh bleepity bleep, what a play. Game after game for 5 years. So
he's a blessing and a curse.
Well, I think we all can agree in this circle right now that if Jameis can't at least start, let alone succeed in this scheme, I think his career is basically over. He's just going to be a backup for the rest of his career. I don't think anyone's really going to give him an opportunity. Sean Payton has given him this opportunity, and if he blows it, just this season, because there's not going to be a next season or next season. As the Saints showed their cap issues once the salary cap catches up from the COVID losses, they're going to be okay. They can get Aaron Rodgers next year. That's a possibility. They could trade for a Russell Wilson. Those things become possibilities. This is make it or break it for Jameis. Yeah, so if Jameis is starting week 1, are you trusting him to take the Saints to the playoffs?
I think that this is a playoff team with Jameis Winston at quarterback. And I can't.
Sounds like us, Gene. Sounds like us. For your sake, I hope you're wrong. I feel like I've been burned 3 too many times saying that.
And the one thing that you were talking about, Bob, that we really haven't discussed is Jameis Winston's legs. He is a football player. He can extend plays with his legs too. Yeah. I don't think people talk about that enough. And you as a Saints fan, the dominance that the Saints had over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until Jameis Winston was drafted. And then it started to kind of level off a little bit where early on where, Jameis Winston was making plays with his legs and, extending plays and doing things. But he's so emotional And I don't know how do you change that? He's so emotional, like hyped up when he gets into the game, and then probably second, third quarter he calms down, and then you just see it's like inconsistent, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And those are the things. Like I said, I've been you. I've been sitting where you are. Trust me. And I've just, I've gone at it with everybody. Oh yeah, he just needs this, and this, and he's going to be better. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the one thing that I would hope from him out of all of this is that he learns to process the system, process the field. That's the one thing that I would say that I hope that he can grasp. Making those good decisions, and not throwing into coverage when he doesn't have to. Take a sack instead of trying to get the ball into triple coverage, that kind of thing. Learning to read defenses, as KB mentioned. These are the things that I hope that he's really learned. It's not so much the physical tools; he's got that. Yeah. I mean, you can look at the Buccaneers record book, and in all the passing records that he's put up, the touchdowns that he's thrown, how he's worked with Mike Evans and that kind of thing. He's shown that he has the physical tools. It's just check up from the neck up. Does he have that? Has he gotten that?
Well, and I think one thing that I hope this storyline doesn't play out during the regular season, but if anyone talks crap about Teron Armstead or Ryan Ramczyk because Jameis Winston ran into more sacks than, let's say, Drew Brees did, because we saw Donovan Smith's reputation before Tom Brady and Jameis was there, completely different story. The narrative on him just flipped. I really don't want to see that for Ryan and Teron. They're both fantastic players. As a former offensive lineman myself, I just love watching the Saints in that aspect. Hate playing them, but the Bucs can't sack the Saints really. The past 3 years, I think Jordan Whitehead or Mike Edwards, one of them, sacked Taysom Hill, and that's the only sack that we've really had in the Bruce Arians era.
But yeah, and that's a judgment against not only Jameis Winston but Taysom Hill also. Taysom Hill had was sacked as many times as Drew Brees was, and Taysom Hill last year, and Drew Brees started 3 times as many games. People don't realize how many sacks Drew Brees saved, not only because of his quick release, but just how fast he could process defenses.
Exactly.
Sean Payton, I don't think, and I certainly hope that Sean Payton doesn't expect Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston to beat Drew Brees, because they're not. But whoever does step in is going to have to process things very, very quickly. Look, even if you aren't processing things at a Hall of Fame level, you still have number 41, the best check down option in the National Football League, to get the ball.
Amen. I think he's the best running back. If you take receiver and running back skills together, I think even more so than McCaffrey, I think Kamara is the most complete back in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. So use him. Irregardless, I think if I'm right and Jameis Winston is going to be the day one starter, Sean Payton is going to have a fairly quick hook. Not necessarily, hey, quarterbacks throw 4 interceptions in a game sometimes, but if those 4 interceptions happen the way that Jameis Winston's 4 interceptions have typically happened, Sean Payton, and I like Jameis. He's a nice kid.
You can't not like Jameis. You can make fun of Jameis, but you can't at least hate on his work ethic and his love of honestly football.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this is a quarterback competition that's going to be probably talked about every time either quarterback throws an incomplete pass this season. But again, like I said, and this
Jameis throws picks in practice. Be ready for it. That's a narrative that will come up. It happened when Fitzpatrick was here. Like that's all anyone talked about was Fitzpatrick would maybe throw 1 interception, 3 practices. Jameis would throw 4 practice, and it's like, well, they're supposed to practice. You're supposed to see if you can fit in type windows, and you want to see what the defense, how they're going to react.
Right. So. But as I said before, not nearly enough people were talking about this. The earlier that one of these quarterbacks can separate himself from the other, the better this offense is for it. If this competition is close down to the regular season opener, that means neither guy has played extremely well, and it gives me a lot of cause for worry.
Yeah.
Has a starter been announced, at least for training camp, like who would get the first team reps, or is it supposed to be 50-50?
It's Sean's playing it close to the vest, as he always does. He's claiming 50-50. And I think it's going to be pretty close to that.
Yeah. Well, Bob, I want to thank you so much for coming on, man. I know that you have a big week ahead of you, and again, I want to thank you so much. We will have you back on again when we actually break down the NFC South. Before I let you go, what have you heard from camp so far? Any news that you could share with us, Bucs fans, as far as how camp is going or how things are progressing?
I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, the veterans reported. What day is today? Wednesday. Shows you how crazy my summer is. Veterans reported yesterday. The only guy that they have other than Michael Thomas, which of course is an issue and a show in and of itself. The biggest questions for this team is going to be the cornerback position, how quickly the rookie linebackers can get up to speed, and can someone finally establish himself as a legitimate bona fide receiver. And we're not even talking a compliment to Michael Thomas, because Michael Thomas isn't there to compliment for the first eight to 10 games. So that's what all eyes are going to be on. But other than that, other than Thomas, everybody is healthy. Knock on wood, coming in. And I think a lot of these young guys, like you said before, Ken, their depth was hit hard this offseason. They still have the frontline talent on both sides of the football. So you need these young players coming in to establish themselves very quickly to strengthen that depth. But the previous depth players are really hungry to now that they've had a starting role. There's going to be some heated competition throughout training camp.
Man, this is awesome. Hey, again, you are a class act. I greatly appreciate you. I can't wait to have you back on again. And I'm going to let you get started with your week, man. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you so much. I'm marrying Lauren Davenport in Ocean City, Maryland, on Sunday. I'm lucky to have her, and she's the most tolerant woman in the world. But you gentlemen, Ken, it was an honor meeting you. I can't wait to be on with you again. Just like Gene, your family. Ken, you are too. We might not like each other's teams, but it would be absolutely my honor to come on with you guys anytime you want to pick my brain for as small as it is about anything you want.
All right.
Well, he's Bobby R2613 on Twitter. Make sure you guys give him a follow.
Yeah, please. I mean, if you just love football and you just want to talk football and you don't get caught up in the whole rivalry thing until we play, of course. But any other time, yeah, definitely, please check him out.
That's the thing, Gene. You and I will message each other about each other's teams unless we're playing each other, and then we leave each other alone.
Well, and it's weird for the first time, and it seems like 5 years we're not playing week 1.
I know.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Like week 9, we'll see you, but we're planning on doing some NFC South stuff, a little round table. We'll definitely be inviting you back soon.
Yeah, and
enjoy the wedding though.
My show, the Bayou Blitz, also usually
plug yourself, please.
We've been a little bit dead in the water this summer because of how crazy Kyle Mosley's and my schedule is. But when we get rolling in time for the regular season, you better believe we're going to have you two guys on too. This has been a blast.
Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, great stuff. I actually follow you on Facebook. I get the intel on what's going on with the Saints all the time. So I appreciate that.
Well, it's my pleasure. And you guys have been so great. Gene, you and I have been friends for a good bit now. And Ken, you're part of the family now too. At Bucs fans, I promise I don't try. I despise Tom Brady. I make no secret about that. But I congratulate you all on your Super Bowl championship. Hopefully we can hold you to just one. But honestly, I'm really happy for you guys. I love, other than 12, I love your coach. I love your receivers. I love Chris. I'm a Chris Godwin fan club member. We're all fans. We're fans. Even if we're writers, we are fans of two of the longest suffering franchises in professional
Amen,
sports.
brother.
You're just preaching to the choir right there.
Right. We're linked at the hip forever, like it or not.
I have one final question I want you to leave our viewers with before you hop off. Who do you despise more, the Falcons or the Panthers?
Falcons. It's not even close.
Easy.
Yes.
The Falcons. And I know you guys are friends with the CP3 guys, podcast too, the Carolina Panthers podcast. God bless them. Their family too. They're like that crazy uncle. But we love them. I have mad respect for the Panthers. I can't even respect the Atlanta Falcons.
Not even a little bit. And and
Love
you
it.
have to love Tom Brady because he basically pulled Matty Ice's soul out of his chest, and that was pretty. He hasn't been the same since then. That franchise hasn't been the same since.
No.
And I'm good with that.
Kyle Shanahan. That was the last straw, I guess, for that franchise.
Well, let's continue to root for Falcons' misery. I saw
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. I saw one of your viewers project that the Saints are going to finish third in the South. Barring health and halfway's decent quarterback play, that ain't going to happen. I think
it comes down to the quarterback. Even if you suffer some issues, I think at the end of the day, it's Jameis or Taysom is where this team is going to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. And I'm not sure we'll catch you guys for the division because you guys are stacked on both sides. But we might see each other in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
And I think that for all NFC South fans, this is the easiest schedule. I think that the past couple of years, we've usually been top of the board in terms of hardest schedule in the NFL. Now it kind of softens a little bit because the AFC East is not as, crazy with Tom Brady gone. And then the NFC East, oh God, don't even get us started there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that just those 6 games, I think is just going to help us as a division overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a blast of a season. And again, thank you guys so much for having me on. Listen, I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to have you guys on my show as well.
All right, man. I
We'll be
appreciate
there. Peace out. Boom.
All right, man. That was Bob Rose. Bob Rose, class act, writer at Sports Illustrated. We've been friends for a long time, and he's always, it's funny. We don't talk to each other when.
Plus wants on. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Let's get Plus on here. We can't have a show without Plus on.
Yeah, but I can't have my Jordan Love debate with him anymore.
Why not? What's this?
Aaron Rodgers back.
Yeah. Well, you just
guess who's back.
But the roster's fluid. Let's get Plus on here real quick. Here.
Have you seen the movie Captain Phillips?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, there's a scene in there where basically Somali pirates take over Tom Cruise's ship. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers is that Somali pirate who says, "I'm the captain now," because he apparently blew the world over with his press conference. He's like, basically, I want to be Tom Brady. I want control and decisions around here. I thought that was wildly exciting.
Oh, no. When I saw his man bun, I just liked him even more.
Don't get me wrong. I love The Office, but I thought the shirt was a little weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I love Kevin's chili spilling everywhere. I just didn't vibe it.
All right. I just shot Plus the link. Hopefully you can get him on here pretty quick. Yeah, it should be coming.
Ew, he's referred to as J-Lo in the locker room, according to Bud. Ew.
Are you serious? Why?
Oh, speaking of J-Lo, how did she get back Ben? That's weird.
I don't know.
We're in training camp. Why are we talking about?
Let's get back to training camp. So, with everybody dropping knowledge on what's been going on with camp, what have you seen that's been the most intriguing for you? I mean, as far as camp.
Oh man, I mean, you've had Evan Winter on this past weekend. He dropped a lot of knowledge to the fan base. What's up, Pless? I think we're just so many depth positions right now, like wide receiver 5, 6, 7, tight end 4. Like we're just grasping at straws, and we're just hoping these safeties get back into practice.
Yeah, I mean, my hope is that the secondary picks up where they left off at the end of the season. I've got fingers crossed.
Well, I need to watch or listen to Evan's. I'm guessing he's making a podcast tonight about today. Tom Brady didn't practice. He just walked through some things. So I want to know how Trask did. Apparently Griffin had a really good day, and I didn't really see much about Gabbert. So I want that inside scoop. Plus,
is it my turn? All right.
Yeah, it's your turn. Hey, the floor is yours, my friend.
Hey, what's up, guys? So no, it's awesome to be back on. I just thought, hopefully I wasn't too late, so I got to.
Long time no see. Plus.
Right, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I just caught the tail end of hearing about the Saints guy on there.
Bob Rose, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I heard Ken talking about Jordan Love. Well, obviously that's not going to take place, I guess, this year. So I guess that's
We'll
a
have
good
to wait
thing.
one more year. We'll have.
Yeah.
We'll have
But
the day.
rosters are fluid, man. You know, anything can happen any given Sunday.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is leaving at this point. Did you see they traded for Randall Cobb? That basically sealed the deal.
Right. Yeah, I mean, my whole thing with Jordan, I thought he was a good prospect coming out. You know, obviously, I don't think he was worth a first round pick, but I just feel like he's got some good upside, and I like watching his game. I think there's some good things that he did for not a very good team that was surrounding him. So I just see some potential there.
I got a question for you. 5 years from now, Jordan Love or Kyle Trask?
Yeah, I mean, when looking at the tape, obviously, I think Jordan's got the more physical tools, but I think Kyle Trask has a chance to be a really good starter and be more consistent than, say, a Jordan Love. But I think both. I think both will be solid. I don't think any one of them is going to be terrible.
You know, I think it all depends on your situation, how things are going to go. Because I mean, right now, Kyle Trask is in a great position. There's no pressure on him at all. There's no pressure on him at all.
Talk about a red shirt this year. If anything, he could get injured. Stashing him on IR, he would never see the field anyway.
Right. Yeah, very possible. And that's a good question. I know you talked about could they keep 4 quarterbacks? I don't see that happening.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm saying, are they really? Is this even a consideration at this point? Because Ryan Griffin showed off today. We know how Ryan Griffin performs in the preseason, especially if Tanner Hudson's around. I mean, you never know.
Right. So. Yeah, no, and you know, obviously they've kept 3 for what seems like forever.
3 is going to be for sure.
Yeah,
they're not keeping 2.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, Griffin, I think, you know, I'm hoping he gets an opportunity elsewhere, but if he goes through waivers, then obviously
not the Saints, please, dear Lord, don't let him go back to the Saints. Last thing we need, don't go to the Saints.
Right. But yeah, I could see him as a practice squad guy. I think he's that type of player where he would accept it.
I didn't realize he's about to be 32 in November. Jeez.
Yeah. Are you serious?
I thought he was like 28, 29. No, he's 31, about to be 32.
Yeah, he's been in the league for quite a while, and yeah.
Wow. That's I'm just like,
that's the only reason I think he could make it to practice squad, but like, is he still eligible? Because I mean, has there been an update since last year? They changed the practice squad eligibility rules. Are they sticking to the ones from last year? Or have they updated them?
No, they're sticking with the same rules as last year. So
then he should be good then.
Yeah, he's good. He can make it.
Yeah, same protocols. I think it's still a 16-man practice squad unit. So,
is Josh McCown still on someone's practice squad to be called in emergencies?
I don't know. I thought he was. Where was he last? With the Texans, or?
Yeah, he was with the Texans.
Yeah. So.
No, he's a free agent. Darn it! I thought that was a great story, though. He literally was paid just to coach high school football, and then like, if they needed him, he would just show up and just play.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, we were talking with Bob Rose, and we were talking about the New Orleans Saints. We're going to have I'm trying to get another writer. There's another writer for Sports Illustrated that writes for Atlanta, and one that writes for Carolina. I'm going to try to get those guys on eventually. The one thing I didn't really get to talk about too much, I know that Quan Alexander met with the New Orleans Saints, and they talk about him going there. Could he help that team in any way? Just curious. I mean, it's something we didn't really get to talk about.
I think coming off his injury, it's going to be very hard. I mean, we saw him last year. I mean, he was same old Quan. I think New Orleans loved him in the sense that the fans just saw the splash, and the defense was already pretty damn good. So everyone else around him was good enough for him to be Quan.
Yeah,
I think this year it's going to be a different story.
All the time, like he does.
And he's going to be a step slower.
Yeah.
So I think he's a stable force. He might be better than the rookies. I just don't know if he's going to take them up a notch.
Yeah, I don't think he makes a difference. I think they're still going to be the same if they add him or not.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at then. So what day are you going to be out at camp there, Plus?
I'm heading there Sunday, so I'm very excited for that, and yeah, definitely going to get a look at them in pads, which is going to be awesome. So
Hydrate.
Hydrate and try to get some videos and photos and put that up on the good old Twitter feed.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
So,
fantastic.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, we can get some more guys out there. Hopefully, like OJ and all some of these other guys that are pending. Get back out
how
there.
close is OJ? How close is OJ to coming back?
I think he's close. I think they're going to start, bringing him in within the next week or so, and then hopefully you see like Cam Braid and some of these other guys come off that active PUP list and get involved as well. Obviously AB's back, so that's great to see. It seems like he's full go now.
As long as he doesn't freeze his foot off.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see where OJ is. I mean, I don't want him if he's just able to, at least practice by that first preseason game. I think that bodes well for him. But if he, doesn't practice really before that first preseason game, I'm slightly worried.
Yeah.
But I think at the end we're good. I'm happy Antoine's back. That it was a false positive and everything like that. And safeties, hopefully Jordan gets better. But we need that secondary healthy because right now we have Ross Cockrell running safety right now, which could be a way to save a roster spot if we're going to add an extra, lineman or wide receiver. That'd be a way to save that spot.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Real quick, I want to shout out Ruth the Truth in the chat. Johnny Dean's out here. I've got the dude on with us. I don't know if hey dude, can you hear us?
The dude.
I don't know if we can get.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey guys, a great show. Hey, real quick, Gene, I want to talk to you here in a minute about our Saints guest you just had on. I got an idea, but hey, KB, good seeing you, bro. Always a pleasure. And down there on the bottom of the screen, Magic Michael Plus, Real Bucs Talk, crushing it.
Never heard of him. Where is he again? Sorry, I love Plus.
But Plus and Real Bucs Talk crushing it, and KB bringing it strong as always.
All right.
Thank you so much.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind tonight?
Well, here's what I'm thinking, Gene. The gentleman from Sports Illustrated.
Bob Rose?
Was it
Bob Rose?
See, I keep saying Bob Ross, but
I'm thinking Bob Odenkirk because he just like got hospitalized. So every time we say Bob, I'm like, is he okay?
But here's what I'm thinking, Gene. Why not challenge these Saints guys to a little QB 54 competition?
It could happen. It could definitely happen.
That means they got to come tailgate at Raymond James Stadium. Though.
Yeah.
Well, Gene's going to New Orleans, right?
Yeah, I'm still trying to go. I'm trying to make that trip, man.
So am I. I'm still looking.
Well,
yeah, we got Clay Lynch in the house from Buckaholics in the New Orleans location. So we definitely have somebody he can definitely put us on to where to stay or what we need to do. So that's as always is greatly appreciated. The people that listen to the show.
Absolutely, I was trying to get in on a little bit of the Aaron Rodgers conversation.
No, absolutely,
and only because and basically because I like to look at the news feed of the different social media platforms and look for stuff that makes sense and stuff that's absurd and then stuff that's in the middle. What do you guys think about the scenario? And yes, pie in the sky and maybe putting the horse before the cart or however that goes, cart before the horse maybe. If the Bucs win the Super Bowl this year and Brady retires, are you guys okay with the Buccaneers going after Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, I saw Plus shake. I want him to answer first.
Yeah, we're waiting.
he gave his hand. We were all still, and then Plus gave the little.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just don't see Brady retiring. I think he's going to finish the contract out, and he's going to. If we win the Super Bowl, he's going to go for the three-peat. So yeah, I don't see that now. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I think they're going to go with Trask. They're going to develop him and let him be that guy.
So you think Trask is definitely the next guy up, basically?
As it stands right now, I think he's the plan.
Absolutely. All right. Then we're all, like you said earlier, we're all dying to see what Evan Winter saw today from Kyle Trask, because like you said, Brady didn't do much. Hopefully that's not a re-aggravation. It might just be that veteran rest day. Who knows? But are we getting?
He was playing running back. If y'all didn't see,
I was thinking we were getting. I was thinking we were getting Evan on tonight. I shot him the link, but haven't heard back from him. So
he's probably all sunburned from
realize,
being redhead and being in the sun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I love digging on Evan. I love Evan to death. Evan, you know I love you.
He's enjoying Bayshore right now.
Absolutely. I've been checking in on him every day. You know, a 6'4" ginger in this Florida heat doesn't really.
Well, he's away from his baby. I think it's the first time he's been away since his child, since it was born.
That has got to be.
Wow,
that's got to be tough, man.
Yeah.
I
saw him last night. We had a great dinner at Hula Bay. So
you went to Hula Bay?
Yeah, we went to Hula Bay last night. We had a great conversation, a lot of good talk. So really cool dude. Just laid back and just he's solid, man.
Yeah.
But definitely he had the medium rare sunburn going on.
Hey man, if it wasn't for Evan, I wouldn't be here right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
so I love Evan to death.
Evan is good people, man.
Yeah, no, Evan has been doing a phenomenal job at training camp, and let's face it, since he's got here at Bucs Report, banging out the written content, and I'm so happy, Michael, that you're going to get a chance to go on Sunday. That's going to be amazing. Again, like I said, sunscreen up, but you live here, so you know how to handle that, dude.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I did want to give go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I have to put sunscreen on, or I'm lobster. Like it doesn't take long. Like 2 minutes, and I'll be red already. So yeah,
I can't relate to what you guys are talking about, but please continue.
See, I have the football tan. It's pretty much since pads down, I'm good. Anything above those pads, no bueno.
Yeah, I don't want to mess up your all's flow here, but real quick, and I'll jump off. Shout out to Ruth the Truth out there, just crushing it for us.
Absolutely.
She and everybody here knows what we're talking about. Of course, Gene's my man from I don't even know how long ago. Everybody else at Bucs Report, appreciate everything you guys are doing, putting out the content. Make sure you tune in later tonight for the over-under with Harry. It's going to be great. Tampa Bay Rays going to make an appearance, so I doubt there'll be as much football talk, but there'll be talk. Yeah. Gene, as always, man, thanks for the Vine, brother. I still think we could crush the Saints guy in QB 54, though.
You know what, man? We can make this a conversation, see what happens. Maybe I should bring it to New Orleans if I go.
Is there a tackle version of that game?
No, man, I'm not.
All I'm saying is I'm 6'7", play some basketball. I'm a good utilization here. Use me well.
Dude, between you got 6'7" and Evan Winter with 6'4", that's it.
What were the
NBA Finals?
What were they calling the Bucs back in the day? The Dunkaholics or
Buccaneers?
Duncaneers, yeah.
With Austin Safarian jackwagon.
Yeah.
Ruth.
Hey
man, again, go ahead, sir.
No, Ruth is saying she could take all of us. No, Ruth, no, not happening. No, and I would put a stake on that one. Just saying. I put that challenge. Man. I just dropped that challenge down there.
Hey, we could make this a co-ed game. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. She's got a nice
jump can ball. Shot. She can ball. I know that.
Yeah, she's got a nice jump shot, but I don't know if she has the. We should start a Bucs.
She's a natural athlete. We can get her spiraling up.
Yeah. She shocked me because she had a video. She put this video out on Twitter where she was just like knocking down jump shots, like 3-pointers. And so I got my fat ass out there and I'm knocking down 3-pointers just to show her that I still do a little bit of something.
Hey, I'm over here knocking down 3 burgers each time. So there's that.
There's Steph Curry and then there's Chef Curry on the other end of the phone.
There we go.
I appreciate the Vine, brother. As always, you guys are crushing it. Everything you guys are doing, we appreciate, man. Now, I'm going to jump off here and go do something that's probably not mentionable. But anyway, great night, Gene. Appreciate you. Shout out to Smack Apparel. Shout out to QB54. And, of course, shout out to the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right. Peace. That was the dude. So, Kind of getting back to the NFL, no significant injuries to speak of right now, correct? If I don't see anything out there.
Nothing too serious. Are you just with
Knock
the
on
Bucs?
wood.
Yeah, just with the Bucks right now. I mean, nothing major. Again, a lot of the guys that sat out today were just veteran days.
Yeah.
Keeping them rested, and it's a good time to get these young players reps and see what you have. Get them in different positions and see what happens. But yeah, injury report is for the most part fairly clean. Outside of Justin Watson, who's going to be out for significant time, but
Which could actually be good for him because I think if he was healthy this preseason, I don't think he lasts. If he's stashed on IR,
yeah,
maybe help his long-term outlook, at least from the Bucs perspective. Obviously, we want him to be healthy and be able to play, even if it's for some other team. But for a Bucs standpoint, it's not the worst thing in the world.
right.
So does he eventually make the team? I mean, when you look at the roster the way it is, I mean,
Our
even if
boy Evan is saying Jaden Mickens has been balling, and
Mhm.
I'm going to hold him to that. And he's got return ability. He could probably play a gunner position if if Darden beats him out for a returner job. I mean, as long as his off-field thing is not the worst thing in the world, then I think if we kept 7 wide receivers for some reason, I think he would make it.
Yeah, I could see that as well, especially early in the season, especially when you have some flexibility with the roster. And, they have these rules where you can put certain guys on IR for like 3 weeks, bring them back, so there's a lot of ways they could go about it. And it just depends. Like if Ross Cockrell can play safety and also be your fourth corner, then you can, cut down on those positions and maybe keep 4 tight ends like they usually do, but then keep an extra receiver as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But
Is the NFL ever going to expand from 53?
I don't see
Y'all
it.
think?
I don't see it happening.
No,
I mean,
I like the idea of the 16-man practice squad. I think that is great. And then also having the flexibility. I'm not sure if I read correctly. I know it's still the active 46, or if they changed that to like 48. I forget how that.
It's either 45 or 46, and then you could keep 2 or 3 people as a designated, but you can't do it for them in consecutive weeks.
Gotcha.
So they could still get claimed from practice squad. So you can basically protect, I think, 4, and then
Right, yeah.
2 can cycle.
Yeah, that's with the practice squad. I'm just talking about like for game day. I know there was some like flexibility there with like
because of
active
COVID.
46.
I would think you'd keep that in place because of COVID right now.
Yeah. So again, and Justin Watson, I think he's like Ken said, he's going to be on the IR, and then next year, maybe he finds a way to have a better chance, whether it's here or somewhere else.
Well, hopefully next year, Tyler Johnson's developed, Scotty Miller's developed to the point that you don't need AB. And even if Tom clamors for him, I think we're going to be in more of a cap crunch next year.
Oh yeah.
With everything, because the moment I think Chris Godwin and Carlton Davis are both the first sure going to be re-signed. But then you have the Alex Kappas, the OJ Howards, the Jordan Whiteheads. How does that sit? JPP? How do those situations play out? How do they become creative? Because we kept everyone last season. We ain't doing it this year.
Yeah, because you can only kick their can down the road so much, kind of like what Mickey Loomis did with the Saints. And we saw eventually you got to come and you got to make those payments eventually. So it's one of those things. I don't see this staff doing that because I love the general manager and I love what they've been doing. And I think that they have enough vision to keep this team competitive for quite a long time.
Yeah. And I'll just, last point on this, I'll just say, the cap is there, but again, I don't believe it. So I'll say never.
Baby.
Yeah, never is never. The cap is a myth, like we've seen, across the league. So if teams want to keep you, they will find a way to keep you. That is always my motto. If they think you're valued enough, they're going to find a way to get you back on the roster. So,
other than what is your white ass open? I like white ass open, and I also like the cap is a myth. Those are the two. If you had like two
Smack Apparel, Robbie,
you got to
knocking on your door.
White ass open.
Robbie.
Yeah, White Ass Open is going to make a lot of money for Antonio Brown this season, so that's most likely why he'll be gone next year. He's going to get a big contract.
And I hope he does for his sake, because I mean, in the past year and a half, he really hasn't done much off the field. So I mean, he just needs to keep that up.
that's the big thing. He's got all this exposure now, and if he shows that he can, behave, I guess is the word. I hate that word. He's not a kid, but he can act like an adult here. I think that the sky's the limit for him next year. He can land that big contract. One last big contract if that's what he chooses to do.
I know what's crazy is if Antonio Brown, who's probably has one of the best, 10-year stretches of wide receiver in NFL history, he would still need to take his average over the past 5 years and replicate it another 10 years just to touch Jerry Rice's records. Isn't that just crazy to think about?
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Oh.
See, I was just reading. Misador was saying, "Do you keep Godwin or AB?" In my eyes, you would keep. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
Godwin's younger.
And AB is great, and he's a great number 3, and probably a number 2 for 90% of the NFL. But I don't think there's really another wide receiver in the NFL that can offer what Godwin does. And I know we've been in our Mike Evans versus Godwin debates, and that's why I just hope they just stay as a tandem because they're perfect as a tandem.
Yeah.
And I want to say this: what we've seen from Chris Godwin is his route running has improved. His routes are so much cleaner than and I saw
where'd you watch that, Gene? I think I saw a video about him recently. Where'd you watch that video?
That was a video, yeah, absolutely. On I think it was Real Bucs Talk, was it?
Bucs Talking Real. I think that's the
that should be our name. I like that. Bucs Talking Real. That should be the new name. Yeah.
TM.
I gotta ask Mark about that. We should change it.
Oh well.
Yeah, but yeah, Chris Godwin is definitely I think he's the most valuable piece of the offense. I mean, Ken said it before. When he's out there, the offense just runs so much smoother. He does so many things, blocking, catching. Anywhere you want to put him, he's successful. So yeah, he continues to get better. I can't wait to see what he does this year. Probably going to have his best season, I'm sure. And and obviously Mike is Mike, and those two, I mean, they're like peanut butter and jelly. You can't separate it.
Yep.
And then my boy Tyler Johnson, I guess, hasn't been having the greatest training camp since we're on the wide receiver position. He's not really been practice. He's had some drops. Apparently got yelled at from BA. This is a big one for him. If Mickens we got in this debate earlier in the off or a couple weeks back and during the off season where I thought he was bona fide lock, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6 at the worst. I mean, it's if Darden is doing his wide ass open and just catches the ball, and Mickens can carve out that special teams role, and also, he didn't do terrible last year, even when he played against the Giants. The issue was, why are you targeting, Mickens when you have, Evans and Godwin and Gronk and Brait and all these targets, but Tyler Johnson's got to show up. I thought he just needed to maintain status quo, but if he's not performing, it's going to be tough. And this is coming from a huge supporter of his. But
I think it's still early. It's still early in camp.
And he needs to perform in the game just a little bit, I think, and then he's good.
Yeah.
But again, he could pick that up at any time. I do believe he's a talent, and I think that he's a guy that can progress. I think he can pick it up. I'm not
Tyler. Listen to this. And show out, baby. We believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'll be fine, especially when the pads come on. I think that's when he's going to show what his value is. Obviously they're training him in that role of being that future slot receiver, being that guy that can play inside or outside.
Imagine if Godwin played outside and Tyler Johnson could just be 75% of Godwin. Oh.
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Dangerous stuff, but Jalen Darden is he's coming on strong, and he gets open.
I didn't think he'd be this good.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't. I thought maybe he could. I think BA, when I saw Darden from your breakdowns and the other videos that I watched of Darden, he reminded me a little bit of why BA loved a guy like Deontay Johnson. Mm-hmm. I just didn't think, coming from a small school, he'd be ready this quick.
Yeah.
So good for you, Darden. Way to show off that route running and that separation. That's going to be huge because we know Brady can fit in any tight window. So if you give him a wide ass window, it's going to be hard for defenses.
Yeah, right. He's going to be wide ass open. Kind of getting back to it. OJ Howard. He's a guy that we haven't talked a lot about. But I'm just hoping that the football gods can give us one full healthy season of OJ Howard. I'm dying to see what he can do. We keep hearing about potential. I'm dying to see what he can do, playing with Tom Brady and having a full season under his belt.
Yeah, OJ is, I mean, we talk about it every year. I mean, I'm like, OJ brings such a dynamic aspect that teams won't be able to handle if he's out there with Gronk, because it just provides so many avenues that you have that you can just dispose of. It's you can keep them in on 2 tight end sets. You can have them max protection for Tom Brady. They don't even have to go out for a route, and you can maximize your options there. Play action, screen game with them both in the lineup would be deadly. It just does a lot of things for your offense. And, middle of the field where Bruce likes to attack, especially with his tight ends. I mean, it would be an easy completion for Tom, most of the time.
If you say OJ put up 700 or 800 yards and let's say 6 TDs, I think he's getting $10 million next offseason.
Yeah,
I don't think he stays with. I don't think he's with Tampa though. I don't know.
I think if he does well, he's with or he leaves Tampa. I think if he is okay and the Bucs could give him, let's say, $3-4 million on a 1 year, I think they'd consider it. But it all comes down to OJ and what he does. Because if he's shit, I think he's gone. If he's amazing, I think he's gone. So, but that's comp pick season for Bucs too. The Bucs, if they can't re-sign a lot of their guys, they're going to get a lot of comp picks. I've seen people. I can't even tell you the amount of people, Gene and Plus, who've texted me or DM'd me asking if we should trade Ronald Jones to the Rams for a 3rd or 4th round pick, and I'm saying, hold on. So if the Bucs didn't keep JPP, that's probably a 4th round comp pick. If the Bucs don't keep OJ, that's probably a 4th or 5th round comp pick. I mean, if you go down the line, the Bucs aren't going to be signing any high level free agents next year. They're gonna own the comp pick season.
Yeah.
So why trade an asset that can help you win a championship now in Rojo to your competitor?
And I think
the Rams
that's right now.
Exactly. That's why we kept OJ the extra year. They didn't have to pick up his 5th-year option, but it's cheap and he's going to contribute. Rojo's making like $1 million.
Yeah.
He's not breaking the bank. It's not saving us cap space.
Yeah.
Hey guys, real quick before we go, I thought this was really cool. NFL Poll Show on Instagram. I follow them. I like some of their polls. Some of their polls, I'm like, I don't agree with it. But I thought this one was kind of interesting. We were talking about Super Bowl rings. I'm actually going to put this up here again. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh, gosh.
And so they've got the top 10 Super Bowl rings. And so they've got the Eagles as number 1. And when you look at the Eagles ring, that's the Eagles Super Bowl ring.
That's pretty nice. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It's okay. I don't know that it's number 1 caliber. Number 2, they've got the
y'all. I think that's ugly.
Yeah, the Donkeys ring it's not that hot to me. It's okay, I guess. And then of course the Chiefs in their ring is pretty basic. They've got the rubies in there. It's all right.
Well, I have a question about the Chiefs real quick. Like with the Indians recently changing their name, do you think the Chiefs do at any point?
I think eventually it'll happen. I do.
If you had to give a year and you had to guess, what would you guess?
Oh, goodness. Probably, I'd say maybe 3 years down the road. Well,
I was going to say 2. They took Arrowhead off of the stadium.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the reason I say 3, maybe because I think the Washington football team is rolling out their new name in 2022. I think.
Don't you think they should have done that? Oh, in 2022, they're not doing it this year.
I think it's 2022, right?
Yeah.
What a terrible marketing move! You had a full year. I'm sorry. You're getting my live reactions. I had no clue.
So this is my thing. This is my thing with that. They're going to get a lot of pressure by a lot of people to, really think about changing the name. They are. I think.
Yeah, but did you see their options? 6 of them are shit.
Well, so I like the Washington Generals only because I love the Harlem Globetrotters, and the Harlem Globetrotters used to beat the hell out of the Washington Generals.
Yeah, but what if the Washington Generals, they probably have a trademark where they probably won't allow them to do it. I like it though.
You never know. So this is the Kansas City ring, and then of course Tampa, which this picture doesn't do it justice because
I think these pictures don't do any of the rings justice. If I'm going to be honest.
I agree. So this is the Buccaneers. I think they were like 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks, of course, and their ring.
Weird how it says world champions.
Yeah.
Not, Super Bowl or anything. That's weird.
This one says world champions.
Oh, I guess that must be a thing. I didn't even notice.
I think they all do.
Yeah.
Wow, they don't have NFL. Oh, that's weird. Okay, never mind. I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. I obviously don't pay attention to rings.
And then, of course, you've got the Giants, and I didn't realize he won 4, but it makes sense.
Honestly, I like that. Maybe it's because there's 4 Lombardis on there, but I think it looks sexy. I'd probably give that my number 1.
I don't know. I like the blue. I like the blue in there too.
I agree.
And then the Saints, of course. There's
a lot of these. I guess now that I'm seeing it, a lot of them are more basic than what I remember them being when they first came out like years ago.
Yeah, because there was one. It just looked like a class ring that you would order, right?
Just with a shit ton of real diamonds and not fake shit.
And then you got the Colts, and I always keep forgetting that they did win.
I think the ring makers dropped the ball. I don't like the world champions on these. I think you could be so much more creative.
Yeah, you would think. And then the Squealers, here's their claim.
See, I like the Giants 4 Super Bowl more than I like the Steelers 5.
Yeah. Oh, and they've got the world champions down here, but they've got them all listed here. I don't know. I think, and again, I'm biased, of course. I'm very biased, but what's inside of the ring for the Bucs is what sells me. Raymond James Stadium, you got all the wins, you got the scores all around the ring. And I mean, just the fact that the Bucs are the only team ever to win a Super Bowl in their own stadium. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased here, but
a lot of these are like basic. Like I don't think I could rank a top 10. I could rank like a top 3 or 4. Like a lot. Maybe it's just bad pictures. Maybe I'll just chalk it up as that.
Could very well be. Maybe I should go through and see if I could find some better pictures. But I don't know. I like the Kansas City ring. I do.
I agree.
The Donkeys, no, not so much.
Why is that number 2? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, who knows?
But I think that Eagles one's nice.
Yeah, the Eagles, it's nice. It is. I'm not gonna. I guess the green and everything in there. But.
Yeah, I think they just need to play up these colors more.
Yeah.
Like in all the rings. The ones who don't have color and focused on the artwork, I think we're missing the ball.
Yeah. But that's it. That's all. I thought it was kind of cool to see that and see how they were ranking the rings. I know Les is bored with this.
Well, Pless is watching film while you talk.
Yeah, he's probably breaking something down. Yeah.
He's breaking down the 2022 draft class for everyone.
You're actually correct.
Yo, so can we talk that? How about that quarterback who's number 1 in the class who is foregoing his senior year to go to Ohio State to get that 7-figure paycheck?
I would do the same. Yeah, might as well take
Why
advantage
are people
of it.
surprised?
Yeah.
They
like I had people, you know how many like quarterbacks,
you can always go back
quarterbacks.
To yeah, you can
like I mean, you guys interviewed Max Brown. Max Brown graduated early to go to USC. I mean, they were doing that for free, just for experience. Now you're going to give them money? Of course they're going to go.
I have to ask you guys, and this is the last question. I'm going to let you get back to your day. What do you think about sports betting? And where are your thoughts at? Does this compromise the integrity of
Well, did you see the Saints just named their stadium the Caesars
little
whatever it is?
Little Caesars Pizza?
That's what I said. Saints fans came after me.
So it's not Little Caesars Pizza?
Did Caesars live here?
Oh, somebody tricked me because I see Little Caesar with 2 pizzas.
No, that was me, Gene. You might have seen my post. I jokingly said
somebody had a picture of Little Caesars Pizza on top of the dome. And so I thought that's what it was.
No, it's Caesars
Palace,
Casino.
Okay.
You probably get this a lot, but did Caesar live here? Did real Caesar live here?
So what do you guys think? I mean, is it going to hurt the game? Is it helping, or does it not make a difference in your opinion?
As far as like the sponsors and stuff?
As far as the integrity of the game, that's my fear.
Well, so here's my okay. I'll go real quick. So
yeah, go ahead, and I'll finish up last.
my biggest thing is, like, for instance, we're seeing Pro Football Talk, Pro Football Network, whatever is running with the stories that the reason why the Bucs should either be fined or Brady suspended for not reporting his injuries, his torn MCL. That's only for betting reasons why we even have injury reports in the first place. So I mean, that's already been established.
Mike Florio.
Mike Florio, excuse me. Yes.
Fuck
I
you,
couldn't
Mike
think of his
Florio,
name.
you piece of shit. Fuck you and fuck your company. Go right.
No, I'm with you. I unfollowed
hate
them.
that guy. Fucking hate him.
I'm the same way. But in terms of sports betting, I mean, it's so accessible. It's on everyone's phone. If it helps the players get paid more, if it gives us better access and just more information, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. It's just crazy for me how fast everything has gone. 10 years ago, when I was in high school, sports betting was basically super taboo. You couldn't even bet on ESPN for your fantasy football league. You had to have it in your own. Someone had to be a commissioner and collect either checks or cash in order to then pay at a future date. Now you can just do that on ESPN's website. 5 years ago, there weren't apps to, easily accessible to sports bet. Now they're everywhere. Might as well make profit off of it. I mean, I hope it doesn't get in the hands of kids. I think that's my problem with video games in today's society is you give, kids access, and the only way to win in, like, let's say a sports game is to pay EA, for instance, for Madden, for MUT, to get a chance in a pack. To me, that's the worst gambling than what sports betting is right now.
And I have to ask this question then. If I'm a running back and I'm under 100 yards rushing and I trip and fall short of getting that 100 yards, and are there opportunities for these types of things to happen?
I would argue there's less opportunities for that because you're under more of a microscope, because you could probably have your own bookie where you could do that kind of stuff anyway. Now, what the spreads are and what the player, I forgot what they call them, wherever they hit 100 yards, like whatever that threshold is called in the betting world, that's out there. It's well known. Everyone knows it. So if you were to throw a football game, Paul Crewe style, everyone would know. So I don't think that's the worst thing, at least in my opinion. Although I'm not a sports bettor. Evan Winter, another expert in this field. He's won a lot of money, especially getting betting for and against the Bucs. So he's probably the best expert from who I speak with.
Plus, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'm for whatever. I mean, if you can get paid, go ahead and do it. There's opportunities out there, and these colleges get so much money. For these players that are, obviously trying to get academic scholarship, but also trying to get into the NFL. And
right.
So if they have opportunity to maximize on their, social media or whatever it may be, or just their overall status, then
the brand.
Yeah, the brand. I'm okay with that. Everyone else does it. There's a brand for everything out there. NBA and all these other leagues are doing it. With the advertising and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to tell someone you can't go out and, do this to better your life. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Plus, sorry you came on so late, but I'm glad you got to make it anyway. It's good.
Made the hour and a half show.
Hey, he still got an hour in.
Yeah, there we go. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I want to thank everybody in the chat for checking us out. You're greatly appreciated. Shout out to Bucs Report, especially Smack Apparel and QB54. And, of course, Bay Cannon Beer, Bay Cannon Brewery. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of you. And we're going to go ahead and roll out of here.